Here we go. I just finished my dive, so I am getting ready now to jump back into the water for a snorkel and wait while there's like a couple other divers still underwater for them to come up. I just want to put a disclaimer that the water is actually this blue, and I did not put any enhancements to make the color more blue. This is just how pretty the ocean actually is. This here is Niihau, which is an island right off of Kauai, Hawaii. So it's like the furthest away from the big island. But it's a very small island called Niihau. And Niihau, well, this area is not specifically Niihau, but it's right next to Niihau. And Niihau is a private island. It's also known as the Forbidden Island because people are not allowed on this island. It's basically bought out by this family called the Sinclair family. Bought it for like $10,000 using gold, pure gold. And it has been passed down to like their descendants. If you see that orange thing floating around me, it's basically like the safety cone that you see on the roads. It allows the boats to know that there are divers down below at the depths. Just because if the boats are parking right by the divers, you want to make sure that the divers, if they end up coming up to the surface, they don't get caught up in the propellers or something, because it's very, very dangerous. So those, orange floaties also let the divers or the people on the boat know that, hey, this is where the divers are, because it's really hard to see people with their little tiny little heads in this big, big ocean. Having this ensures that people don't get lost in the ocean, or if you are lost, you get found. The Sinclair family preserved the Hawaiian culture, and so the people that live there, it's only about like 84 people of some Hawaiian tribe, and they only speak Hawaiian language, and they have their old ways of life. So it's, there to protect the people that live there. And so people aren't really allowed on that island. We're just right next to this island, because the island is basically surrounded by the vast ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and so we're allowed in the water, but it's very limited number of boats, I think, that are allowed to travel here, and our boat ride was maybe an hour to get here. But yeah, we're allowed to dive and swim and snorkel here, but we're not allowed to land or, visit the island itself. I think Susan is already surfacing now. She's probably had her fill, or she's already used up enough of her air. So she has surfaced, and she'll have to make her way to the boat as I continue to snorkel. And you can see that big rock formation down there. It is just quite incredible. There's a lot of corals and fish that are just hanging out down there. And actually our certificate, I think most of us are advanced divers, but our certificate allows us to go up to 100 feet. But the deeper you go, the more air you breathe. It's just harder to breathe because there's more pressure the deeper you go. So you can kind of ascend so that you're under less pressure and you're able to breathe a little bit easier. We're about to see a surprise guest in just a minute. You can hear I'm very excited and laughing, giggling. But this is a sandbar shark. It's so exciting to see a shark, and this is my first time seeing a shark. And she is just here to, they're just curious, and they're just seeing what we're up to. I already saw them while diving down at the depths, but I guess it just reappeared. They're just very curious creatures and so adorable. Like, we saw the eyes and everything. They're not dangerous. I mean, you just keep your distance, but they can't eat you. But you know, they're just curious babies, and it's really adorable. They are just as curious about us as we are about them, and they don't really bother us. You can see I'm at the surface, but down below me, actually, the ocean floor goes all the way down to 300 feet, just about 300 feet, and it is just quite incredible, actually, because you can see, well, you can't really see everything all the way down until you get further down, but things just start to appear and disappear, and it's quite interesting. The dive site is called Neon Cave at Niihau. Maximum depth we dived to down here was around 70 feet. I think all the dives we did about 70 feet, 74 feet was like around the maximum depth. But it was an incredible dive, and then just seeing it from the surface is also quite incredible. Because as you approach the rocks, you're able to kind of see the formations at the bottom, but when you swim out just a little bit away from these rocks, suddenly, all of a sudden, everything just disappears and it just becomes a blue, vast ocean of nothingness. And it's so interesting. And one cool way to check for divers is also those bubbles. They really tell you where the divers are from the surface if you're looking for divers. That is Jack and Jess at the bottom of the ocean there. They're great divers because they are really good at breathing and just being like very slow breathers and very controlled breathing. You have to breathe slow, take in like deep inhales and deep exhales and kind of like conserve your air. Whereas, you know, I actually do yoga outside of on land, but it's just quite a different experience for me when I get underwater because there's just so many new things and new emotions that come up, and it's just so exciting, and I giggle, I laugh, I'm excited, and I just burn through my air so quickly, honestly. Like, if I'm there for 40 minutes, these guys are there for like an hour or so. You can just see like the difference in, you know, how much they're conserving their air. It allows them to stay underwater longer, and eventually I hope to do the same and try not to get too excited when I go down. But, you know, it's just like, look at this place. It's incredible. How could you not get excited about this, you know? So you have to just keep calm and keep your composure and just, enjoy it without getting overly excited. The water temperature here is pretty warm. It's like 80 degrees. But we are still wearing a wetsuit just because we do go at deeper depths. And one of the things they teach you is that, if you get up with a mate or something and you feel cold, you have to end your dive right away. I mean, it's pretty dangerous. So it is good to wear a wetsuit, and my wetsuit is 3 mm, whereas I think others are wearing maybe 5mm wetsuits. So the thickness is not as thick as it could be. And yeah, it's warm, but you still want to protect yourself. At this point, the guys on the boat are telling me that they're screaming out to me that there's dolphins nearby roaming around the boat. And that day we actually saw a bunch of spinner dolphins. There were bottlenose dolphins as well, I believe, and it was so exciting to see them from the boat, but I really wanted to swim with the dolphins, and I think they're fearful of people because they love the boats and the wake from the boat and the waves that, was making. They were having so much fun. There were so many of them, and Jack was telling us that I think that's the most dolphins he's seen, and he's had a lot of experiences with dolphins and swimming with dolphins. But anyway, I really wanted to hang out with some of the dolphins, but yeah, they're pretty shy. And so by the time I got to the boat or the surrounding area, they were nowhere to be seen, not even a hint of where they might have been. But we did have another interesting guest show up later, which you'll see in a different video that if you watch, you'll be able to see. A friend of mine actually bought a camera that can go, it's an underwater camera that can go up to 300 feet. You don't need a person to go down there. You just throw the camera down, and it's supposed to be able to film up to 300 feet. So I'd love to try that camera out and see what we could capture on that. I'm still searching for dolphins here, but there's no more trace of them. And as you can see, I swam out to the deep blue sea and away from the rocks, and you can't really see anything beneath you or around you.